In the depths of a Nazi concentration camp, Viktor Frankl made a profound discovery that would later revolutionize our understanding of human resilience. As a psychiatrist imprisoned during World War II, he observed something remarkable. Even in the most horrific conditions imaginable, some prisoners maintained an unshakable sense of purpose and hope. While their physical circumstances were identical to others, these individuals had discovered what Frankl later called the last of human freedoms, the ability to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. This observation raises an intriguing question: what if the key to unlocking our potential lies not in changing our circumstances, but in transforming how we think about them? Consider how two people might respond to being laid off from their jobs. One might spiral into despair, viewing it as proof of their inadequacy. The other might see it as an opportunity to pursue a long-delayed dream or acquire new skills. Same circumstance, radically different interpretations, and consequently, vastly different outcomes. The science behind this phenomenon is fascinating. Neuroscientific research has shown that our thoughts literally shape our brain structure through neuroplasticity. When we repeatedly engage in negative self-talk, we strengthen neural pathways associated with anxiety and depression. It's like creating a well-worn path through a forest. The more we walk it, the easier it becomes to follow. But here's the empowering part. We can actively create new neural pathways through conscious effort and practice. Speaking of that inner critic, that persistent voice that sounds like a radio stuck between stations, broadcasting an endless stream of doubts and fears. When was the last time you really listened to what it was saying? For many of us, this internal dialogue runs like background noise, so familiar we barely notice its constant presence. You're not qualified enough for that promotion. Who are you to speak up in that meeting? Everyone else has their life figured out except you. These thoughts are so universal that research by the National Science Foundation estimates we have between 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day, and remarkably, 80% of them are negative. More strikingly, 95% are repetitive thoughts from the previous day. We're essentially running the same mental programs day after day, wondering why we keep getting the same results. Consider Sarah, a talented graphic designer I worked with, who spent years turning down opportunities to freelance despite her exceptional portfolio. Her inner critic had convinced her that real designers worked for prestigious agencies, and anything else meant she wasn't good enough. It took a forced redundancy for her to question this belief, and when she finally did, she discovered her limiting belief had been nothing more than a story she'd been telling herself, one that had no basis in reality. The power of these limiting beliefs lies in their subtlety. They often disguise themselves as rational thoughts or protective mechanisms. I'm just being realistic, we tell ourselves, or I'm keeping my expectations in check. But are we really? Or are we simply justifying our fear of stepping into the unknown? Think about your own life for a moment. What dreams have you shelved because your inner critic convinced you they were impractical, or not for people like you? What opportunities have you passed up because that voice whispered, "You're not ready yet"? The fascinating thing about limiting beliefs is that they often have a traceable origin story. They might stem from a well-meaning teacher's cautionary advice, a parent's protective warning, or a single embarrassing incident from our youth. The human brain, in its effort to protect us from future pain or disappointment, takes these isolated incidents and transforms them into universal truths about our capabilities and worth. Take James, a successful entrepreneur who struggled with public speaking well into his 40s. His fear traced back to a single incident in 6th grade when he stumbled over words during a class presentation. That one moment, combined with his teacher's well-intentioned but damaging suggestion that maybe presenting isn't your strong suit, became a core belief that shaped decades of his professional life. The good news? These mental constraints, though powerful, are not permanent. Cognitive psychology has demonstrated that our beliefs are largely learned responses, which means they can be unlearned and replaced with more empowering alternatives. This process isn't about positive thinking in a vacuum. It's about systematic questioning of our assumed limitations and conscious creation of new mental models. Consider the remarkable case of Roger Bannister, who broke the 4-minute mile barrier in 1954. Prior to his achievement, it was widely believed that running a mile in under 4 minutes was physically impossible. Medical experts claimed it would cause severe damage to the human body. Yet within just 46 days of Bannister's breakthrough, another runner broke the barrier. Within 3 years, 16 other runners had done the same. The barrier wasn't physical, it was mental. This phenomenon, known as belief revision, shows how quickly our conception of what's possible can shift when presented with evidence that challenges our existing beliefs. The question then becomes, what 4-minute miles exist in your life? What arbitrary barriers have you accepted as immutable facts? The neuroscience of belief change offers some fascinating insights. When we encounter information that challenges our existing beliefs, the amygdala, our brain's threat detection center, actually triggers a stress response. This explains why challenging our limiting beliefs often feels uncomfortable or even threatening. It's not just psychological resistance, it's a physiological response to perceived threat. But here's where it gets interesting. Research in neuroplasticity shows that every time we choose to act despite our limiting beliefs, we're not just building confidence, we're literally rewiring our brain's neural pathways. Each small victory, each step outside our comfort zone, creates new neural connections that make the next step easier. This understanding leads us to a powerful question. If our limiting beliefs are learned and our brain is constantly capable of forming new neural pathways, what becomes possible when we consciously choose to challenge and reshape our mental constraints? The transformation process begins with awareness. Start paying attention to your internal dialogue. When you catch yourself saying, "I can't," or "That's not possible for me," pause and ask, is this a fact or is it a belief? And if it's a belief, where did it come from? Does it serve me? Remember Viktor Frankl's profound insight. Between stimulus and response lies a space, and in that space lies our power to choose our response. In every moment, we have the power to question our limiting beliefs, to choose different thoughts, and to write new stories about what's possible in our lives. The journey of breaking free from mental constraints isn't about reaching a destination where we never experience self-doubt or fear. Rather, it's about developing the awareness and tools to recognize when our limiting beliefs are at play, and the courage to act despite them. It's about understanding that our thoughts are not facts, and our past beliefs need not dictate our future possibilities. What story will you choose to write for yourself? What becomes possible when you decide to question the mental constraints that have held you back? The answers to these questions might just be the key to unlocking your next level of growth and achievement. The psychology of self-talk, the voice that shapes our reality. Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not looking at your reflection, but listening to the constant stream of commentary playing in your mind. Research from the University of Michigan has revealed that the average person engages in negative self-talk roughly 300 to 1,000 times per day. This inner dialogue shapes our reality far more profoundly than most people realize. The fascinating world of sports psychology provides compelling evidence of self-talk's power. In a groundbreaking study at the University of Toronto, researchers worked with collegiate swimmers who incorporated structured positive self-talk into their training regimen. The results were remarkable. Those who practiced positive affirmations showed a 13% improvement in race times compared to the control group. What made this study particularly interesting was that the physiological training remained identical. The only difference was the mental narrative they cultivated. But self-talk extends far beyond athletics. Consider the case of Maya, a talented software engineer who consistently declined leadership opportunities because of an internal narrative that told her she wasn't management material. This belief stemmed from a single critical comment by a former supervisor years ago. The human brain's negativity bias, a well-documented phenomenon in cognitive psychology, causes us to give disproportionate weight to negative experiences, creating mental scripts that can persist for decades. Think about your own life for a moment. When was the last time you caught yourself saying, "I'm not good at," or "I could never"? These seemingly innocent phrases are actually powerful cognitive shortcuts that bypass our rational thinking and directly influence our behavior. Neuroscience research using fMRI scans has shown that negative self-talk activates the amygdala, our brain's threat response center, leading to increased stress hormones and decreased problem-solving ability. Breaking free from mental scripts, the art of mental distance. Understanding our thoughts requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Consider this: you are not your thoughts any more than a movie theater is the films it shows. This concept, drawn from both ancient wisdom and modern cognitive behavioral therapy, offers a powerful framework for personal transformation. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor of Rome, captured this idea beautifully in his personal writings. "Today I escaped from anxiety." Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside. His insights from nearly 2 millennia ago align perfectly with contemporary neuropsychology's understanding of cognitive distancing, the ability to observe our thoughts without becoming entangled in them. Modern research in metacognition, thinking about thinking, has revealed something remarkable. The simple act of labeling our thoughts can reduce their emotional impact. Dr. Matthew Lieberman's research at UCLA demonstrated that the mere act of putting feelings into words reduces amygdala activity and increases activity in the prefrontal cortex, our brain's rational center. Think of your mind as a busy train station. Thoughts are like trains passing through. You can observe them coming and going without necessarily boarding everyone. This perspective allows us to ask crucial questions. Who would you be without your limiting beliefs? What possibilities might open up if you stopped automatically accepting every thought as truth? The power of rewriting your narrative, from limitation to liberation. The science of neuroplasticity, our brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections, provides the biological basis for personal transformation. Every time we consciously challenge a limiting belief, we're literally rewiring our neural pathways. This isn't just theoretical, it's the foundation of lasting change. Consider the remarkable journey of Oprah Winfrey. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi, she experienced severe trauma in her early years. However, rather than allowing these experiences to define her future, she consciously rewrote her narrative. "Everything that has happened to you has happened for you," she often says, transforming past pain into purposeful fuel for growth. What's particularly fascinating is how this reframing process actually changes brain structure. Research from the University of Wisconsin-Madison Center for Healthy Minds has shown that consistent practice of reframing negative experiences increases gray matter density in regions associated with emotional regulation and cognitive control. The process of narrative transformation isn't just about positive thinking, it's about accurate thinking. When we examine our limiting beliefs, we often find they're based on outdated information or overgeneralized experiences. For instance, a study of successful entrepreneurs revealed that 76% had previously failed in business ventures, yet they reframed these failures as valuable learning experiences rather than permanent verdicts on their capabilities. Consider this practical exercise. Think of a limiting belief that has held you back. Now, imagine you're a skilled detective investigating this belief. What actual evidence supports it? What evidence contradicts it? Often, we'll find our most constraining beliefs rest on surprisingly shaky foundations. The intersection of these three elements, self-talk, mental scripts, and narrative rewriting, creates a powerful framework for personal transformation. By understanding the psychology behind our internal dialogue, learning to observe our thoughts with healthy distance, and consciously crafting new narratives, we can break free from self-imposed limitations and access our full potential. This journey of mental transformation isn't about denying reality or forcing artificial positivity. Instead, it's about developing a more nuanced, flexible relationship with our thoughts and experiences. As neuroscientist Dr. Joe Dispenza notes, "The best way to predict your future is to create it, not from the known but from the unknown." What unknown possibilities might await when you begin to question and rewrite your limiting beliefs? The transformative power of gratitude, rewiring your mind for abundance. Let me take you on a fascinating journey into the intersection of gratitude, neuroscience, and personal transformation. What we're about to explore isn't just feel-good philosophy. It's backed by compelling research that shows how gratitude literally reshapes our neural pathways and elevates our consciousness to new frequencies of possibility. Consider this: every thought you have creates a neural pathway in your brain. When neuroscientists at UC Berkeley studied individuals practicing regular gratitude, they discovered increased activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, an area associated with learning and decision-making. This finding suggests that gratitude doesn't just make us feel good, it fundamentally alters how we process information and make choices about our lives. Think about your own thought patterns for a moment. Throughout your day, your mind processes roughly 60,000 thoughts. Research shows that for most people, approximately 80% of these thoughts are negative, and 95% are repetitive from the previous day. Just as a radio can only receive the frequencies it's tuned to, your mind tends to attract experiences that match your dominant thought patterns. What if gratitude could be the dial that tunes you to a different frequency? Here's where the science gets even more intriguing. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading gratitude researcher, found that people who kept gratitude journals for just 3 weeks reported 25% higher life satisfaction scores. They also exercised 33% more and reported better sleep quality. The reason? Gratitude triggers the release of dopamine and serotonin, our feel-good neurotransmitters, creating what scientists call an upward spiral of positive emotions. Let me share a powerful personal illustration. Imagine two people starting their morning. The first person wakes up thinking about their lengthy to-do list, the traffic they'll face, and the challenging meeting ahead. The second person takes 2 minutes to appreciate their comfortable bed, the morning sunlight, and the coffee they're about to enjoy. Same circumstances, but radically different energy frequencies. The first person has tuned their neural radio to the station of scarcity and stress, while the second has dialed into abundance and possibility. This brings us to a crucial understanding about mindset transformation. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful, it's about training your brain to spot opportunities, solutions, and possibilities that your negative thought patterns might have filtered out. When you express gratitude, you're not just acknowledging what's good, you're literally rewiring your neural circuits to become more sensitive to positive experiences. Consider the remarkable findings from Harvard Medical School. Participants who wrote down 3 things they were grateful for each day showed significantly lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, after just 8 weeks. More surprisingly, their problem-solving abilities improved by 23%, suggesting that gratitude doesn't just make us happier, it makes us smarter and more resourceful. Here's where I invite you to pause and participate in a simple but powerful exercise. Right now, as you're reading this, take a deep breath and identify 3 things you're genuinely grateful for. They don't need to be profound or life-changing. Maybe it's the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of rain outside, or the comfortable chair you're sitting in. Notice how your body feels as you focus on these elements of gratitude. That subtle shift in your physical state? That's your neurochemistry beginning to change. The beauty of gratitude as a tool for mindset transformation lies in its simplicity and accessibility. Unlike many personal development practices that require significant time or resources, gratitude is available to us in any moment, under any circumstances. Viktor Frankl, who survived the concentration camps during World War II, noted that even in the darkest circumstances, we retain the freedom to choose our attitude, to find something to be grateful for. Let's explore how this connects to breaking free from limiting beliefs. Every time you practice gratitude, you're essentially telling your brain, there is enough. Good things are possible. Life supports me. This directly contradicts common limiting beliefs like, I never have enough, or nothing ever works out for me. Over time, this creates new neural pathways that make optimism and abundance your brain's default setting rather than scarcity and limitation. The relationship between gratitude and energy is particularly fascinating. Quantum physics tells us that everything, including our thoughts, exists as energy at different frequencies. When you're in a state of gratitude, research using EEG measurements shows that your brain produces more coherent electromagnetic fields. These fields not only affect your own cellular structure but can influence the energy fields of those around you, explaining why grateful people often report better relationships and more positive social interactions. As we move toward our closing thoughts, it's worth noting that this isn't about denying life's challenges or maintaining toxic positivity. Instead, it's about developing what psychologists call realistic optimism, the ability to acknowledge difficulties while maintaining faith in positive possibilities. Gratitude serves as the bridge between these two perspectives, allowing us to face reality while maintaining the emotional resilience to create positive change. So, what's the one small step you can take today to rewrite your story and reclaim your mental freedom? Perhaps it's starting a gratitude journal, or maybe it's simply pausing 3 times throughout your day to notice and appreciate something you typically take for granted. Remember, as Norman Vincent Peale wisely noted, change your thoughts, and you change your world. The science now proves he was quite literally correct. Your thoughts truly are the frequency through which you experience life, and gratitude is the tuning mechanism that can shift you from the static of scarcity to the clear signal of abundance. The question isn't whether this transformation is possible. The research clearly shows it is. The real question is, are you ready to begin this profound journey of neural rewiring and consciousness expansion through the simple but powerful practice of gratitude? Consider this final thought. Every moment of gratitude is a moment of power. Power to choose your focus, power to shape your neural pathways, and power to set the frequency of your life's experience. What will you choose to be grateful for right now, knowing that this choice is literally reshaping your brain and setting the tone for your future experiences?